Hey there, everyone. Mr. Lewis here to help you walk through your DTM Stages activity today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the instructions here really quick first. I'm going to show you the website that you're going to use, which is the same website you used last week for your population pyramid 3x5 activity. And then I'm going to give you a couple examples so you can actually see step by step how to properly complete this activity. So here are the instructions. For each of the 5 stages of the DTM, you're going to find a country whose population pyramid matches each of those stages' ideal pyramid. When I say ideal pyramid, I'm talking about here in the DTM when we looked at the shape of the pyramid for each of the 5 stages. I want you to find one country that sort of matches, resembles closely at least each of these 5 stages. Now, we're going to talk about stage 5. Stage 5 is a little bit different. We're giving you some more flexibility there, and I'm going to explain why. But for each of them, you need to find the pyramid, copy and paste it on the corresponding slide, and then in the text box on that slide, simply explain why you think that country belongs in that particular stage. So there are some important things you need here to justify why you put it in that particular stage. Two of the big things are birth rate and death rate. Those are typically going to be your go-to statistics for DTM stages. Those together also give you natural increase rate. So between birth rate and death rate, we can get natural increase rate. It gives you enough information to properly place that particular country's population pyramid on one of those development stages, in one of those phases on our DTM chart. So you're going to use this DTM chart on the next slide here. We've already got it for you. And actually, what you're going to do on each stage, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to be going through and editing this because at this point, you have made your own copy of this. We asked you to make your own copy. So up here, you would change where it says your name to your actual name. I'm going to change it to V. Lewis here. So then you would go down for each stage, 1 through 5, and in each one, you're going to copy and paste the population pyramid in this gray box, expand it so it fills up this entire space here. We can see it easily. And then over here in the text box, you're going to use birth rates, death rates, and or other characteristics of the country to explain why you believe it belongs in this particular stage. This only needs to be 1, 2, or 3 at the max sentences in length, but it should be convincing enough, and it should be properly written using proper spelling, grammar, punctuation, all of those things. So up here, you may have noticed there's a note that says you cannot use the United States or Mexico. The reason for that is I'm about to show you a couple examples of how to properly complete this activity using those 2 countries. So those are the only 2 that you can't use here today. However, you can use them as examples moving forward. So again, for each slide, you're going to type the country's name at the top, copy, paste, and expand your population pyramid, and then type out the appropriate explanation. So let's get to it. What I'm going to do is go to the website that was listed here on slide 2, where it says click here to open the population pyramid website. If you do that, it'll open up in a new tab for you. Now, I'm going to go to the United States here, take a look at their pyramid. You can see that it is about as thick here at the top in the 50s and 60s as it is down here in the 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24 range. That is pretty indicative of stage 4. You can see that stage 4 has this rounded top. That's to tell us that a lot of people are living to older ages. Also, importantly, there's not a big drop or increase in birth rate as you move from the top of the pyramid all the way down. And that's why it takes on that severe slope from the top down, right? It's like a big hill, as opposed to this more triangular type of shape that we see in stage 3. So as I'm looking at this one, this says stage 4 to me. We're certainly not a stage 3 country, okay? We are a stage 4, oh wait, excuse me, there it is. We are a stage 4 country. Okay, we are a highly developed country, but we're not in stage 5 yet. In stage 5, you're going to see one of two things. It says on the DTM that it's going to start ticking back up, meaning birth rate. The green curve here you can see bottoms out and then starts to swoop back up. And that happens at the bottom of the pyramid here as well for stage 5. But as we discussed in class, sometimes we can actually see the opposite happen. We get an inverted pyramid like you see with Japan, for example. This could also count as a stage 5, but now you can't use Japan. But that would be a good example of one. If you see this inverted pyramid thing happening here where it's very heavy at the top and very skinny at the bottom, birth rate is really, really low and the population is actually decreasing, then you have a stage 5 as well. Because Japan is a highly developed country, but they're getting to the point where that fertility rate is just dropping too low. And that's not stage 4, but it could be stage 5. So stage 5 is kind of a big question mark. We'll let you decide what you place there and explain yourself as to why. So let's take the United States. I said that this is a stage 4 country based on the shape of the pyramid, based on the fact that birth rates are pretty low, but death rates are also pretty low, right? People live to very old ages in the United States. You can see that we have almost 90,000, about 90,000 people over the age of 100 alone. That's incredible. So this is definitely a stage 4. Now here's what I'm going to do. Down here you can see it says download. Go ahead and download that image. When you do, it'll take you to this page, and you can actually now copy this as an image, go back into your activity, get the proper stage. I'm going to write United States. I'm going to paste my image here and give it a second to actually pop up. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Let me try this one more time. Let's actually download the image. And now I'm going to insert the image, upload from computer, go to my downloads. There it is. And now we have it. Look at that. Problem solving on the move. Gotta love it. So I'm just going to fit that into this gray space like so. And then over here, I'm going to write the United States is a stage 4 country because they are a highly developed nation with a low birth rate and low death rate. I could add to this. That's one sentence. It's a big sentence, but it's only one sentence. I could add to this. The United States has a high life expectancy and a better overall economy than most countries in the world. And that's enough to say, hey, this is a very developed country, big economy, long life expectancy, low birth rate, low death rate. All of those things add up to stage 4. Now, let's use Mexico. I said that you couldn't use Mexico because we're going to use Mexico as an example. So you can really just kind of choose the countries, right? I could look at these and say, ooh, I think it's that stage or this stage, and you can start to see the differences that occur. And there's some really interesting ones. You just saw one right there. Where was that? Maldives? Yeah, the Maldives. Big male population here in the middle, right? As we learned this week, that could be due to migrant workers, like it was in the United Arab Emirates, but that's a unique one. You don't have to use something like that today. Let's take a look at Mexico. Mexico is pretty even on both sides, but what we see here is a little bit different than what we saw with the United States. Whereas the United States is a little bit thicker here at the top in these 60s, 70s, 80s range, Mexico is a little bit skinnier. However, it's not like where you see here with Madagascar, it really starts to bow out at the bottom. Mexico doesn't have that, right? Their birth rate has pretty evenly leveled off. You can see 4.2% to 4.3%, 4.3%, 4.3%, 4.3% to 4.2. So I'm going to go ahead and say this looks to me, let's look back at our DTM, like a stage 3. It's a little bit skinnier at the top, but that birth rate has started to even out and level off on the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. Save image to downloads. Go to stage 3. Write in Mexico. Insert my image. And there it is. And if you're curious as to whether you have the right one, it says the country name down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the image. And then I would go through and explain myself based on what we see in stage 3 of the DTM here. Use the birth rate, use the death rate, use the natural increase. I could also look up something like life expectancy, right? Mexico has a long life expectancy, so I certainly wouldn't put them in stages 1 or 2. They are starting to see people live to be very, very old, right? But also that birth rate is starting to level off. So Mexico is certainly not a stage 1 or 2. They fit that stage 3 pretty well. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit about what we're looking for here from this DTM stages activity. And obviously, if you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. All right, thanks. You guys have a wonderful Wednesday. See ya.